Good morning, everyone, and welcome to My Workpapers webinar, where we are looking to demonstrate our year-end workpaper templates. We do have a very full house today. I'll just give it a few more seconds so I can see people jumping in quite rapidly, and I will start in just a few seconds' time. Okay, we'll get started. So again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to My Workpapers webinar, where we are looking to demonstrate our year-end template. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mahbub. I am the sales manager for Australia, based in Queensland. And even though I've got a British accent, I'm very firmly based in Queensland. We hope that the session is booked for an hour, but I hope that I will not be taking up the full hour. I hope that it will be finished in about 45, 50 minutes. Depends on the number of questions that you have coming through. Now, you are absolutely able to ask questions. Please type in your questions in the question box on Zoom, and I will endeavor to answer them as I go through. And I won't necessarily pick them out as a question. I want to run through the main bulk of the demo today, but do ask those questions. If I can't get to answer those questions today, over the coming days, of course not tomorrow being a public holiday, I will come back to you before the end of next week and hopefully answer all those questions that you have. This will be recorded as well, so if you can't stay for the whole thing, no problem. You will get a recording of the entire thing in the coming days as well. Okay, so let's get cracking. If you wanted to book a discussion, a chat with me, the easiest way to do that, you can of course send me an email. You can contact me on my direct number there, or you can also use my Calendly link, which is on the screen here, calendly.com, Mahbub-Mosbir. And that's such a quick chat with me, a 15-minute chat to understand where you're at and what you're looking for and see how we can potentially help you. Okay, let's give you a little bit of background about My Workpapers. So we've been around for 13 years now. We started off online. We are online. We will always continue to be online. It's 100% online tool. And that helps with the fact that if you're looking to go paperless, this is a really good start. So what do we do? Key things that we do. There are three things that we are actually known for. Number one is we deliver efficiency for an accounting firm. We can see between 1 to 3 hours of saving on your per job per year on a client that you're working on. Depends on where you're coming from. If you're highly efficient already, so you're not going to see the 3 hours. But if you're not, if you're like in most firms, there are room for improvement in every place. You're likely to see between 1 to 2 hours of saving in your process. We deliver a very standardized process throughout your firm. So a lot of times firms come to us saying they have different processes for different types of jobs and different teams don't talk to each other well enough to have a consistent approach to tackling their work. We absolutely deliver that throughout the firm. And also the other key reason why people join us is incredible level of visibility. So very top level, if you need, throughout down to the detail as well. And I'll show you these areas throughout the session this morning. We're also, being an online platform and being focused purely on workpapers, we have workpaper templates for every eventuality that an accountant comes across. So from the audit perspective, you can see a full list of the different templates that we have. Companies, not-for-profit associations, super funds being a really big area for us as well, trust audits and even international audits. What we're running through today is the year end, but we're going to be focusing on the companies. But we do have periodic for your quarterly and monthly BAS returns as well. So we have templates built into the year end to cover those areas. On the small end of the spectrum, we also have workpaper options for individual tax returns as well. Really important area for us is that our platform is incredibly flexible. And what that allows us to do is, yes, we've got very good and thorough content that we keep up to date from a legislative point of view from the ATO, but it's also very customizable. What that means is that, yes, you can run with the content that we have, but you might have specific areas that you would prefer to personalize based on your own preferences. So as an example, you might say that you would prefer your GST rec over ours, and we can replace and swap that over. Same goes with any kind of content, whether it's checklists, etc. as well. We'll touch on that briefly later. We have great integration as well. So you can see the list of integrations that we have: Xero, QuickBooks, Class BTL, Supermate, and also Office 365. So this, where MyWorkpapers will link to your account of Office 365 to make your experience a much more smoother process. So I have a feeling that I was muted all this time, but I'm not sure. I think everyone can hear me now. Okay. So yeah, it's we're integrated into all these things. So with Xero, we have a particularly good relationship where not only can you pull through a trial balance from the Xero Blue file directly, but you can also do the adjustment journals within MyWorkpapers and then push them directly back into that Xero file. But you can also push adjustment journals into other platforms such as MyOb and QuickBooks as well, but you'd have to do that through a CSV. Okay, so the next slide is my contact details, but I will try to remember to bring this back again at the end of the demo today. But if I haven't, you will always be able to contact me, and we will contact you again as well. So let me just share my other screen now. Here we go. All right, so when you log into MyWorkpapers, you will notice it is an unlimited number of users. So no matter how small or a large firm you have, no matter how many different tiers of staffing that you have, it's unlimited users, and truly unlimited. And I will very quickly go over that in just a second. But what you've got on your screen here is your dashboard or your home screen. And this is based on your experience, your individual experience and your individual workload of you as a person. So it will give me my 5 most recent activities I've been involved with. Underneath that, it's got the most recent files that I have accessed and worked on. On the right-hand side, you've got my review points that I need to action as well. And right in the middle here, you've got a graphical representation of my completion statistics of the different files that I'm working on and so on. Really important area, the roles and permissions will dictate to you what level of permissions you have in order to do certain tasks. So you can see there's 8 pre-designed roles within MyWorkpapers. All of this is very, very customizable based on your own firm structure. So you can see naturally that a graduate has a lot less ticks available of permissions that are granted for them to be able to take certain actions compared to an engagement partner who's able to do everything. Again, we will customize this structure based on your permissions that you require. I won't spend any more time on this. However, I will be referring to that throughout the demo. I will now go into the file area. So if I go into my files and go to create a file, because all the different templates that we have are listed in here. But also, if you customize and save a particular template that's more in tune with your own firm structures and things, then it'll be listed under firm templates. Today, we are going into a year-end template. Now, I will create a file here for you. And I'll put in the date for year 23, because I have a little bit more financial data around that. What this is now doing is building the file based on the structure of that year-end template. So if it was my personalized template, of course, it will be using that to build that structure, but I'm using the standard one that comes with the package. There is a question with regards to doc management systems. We're not integrated at the moment with other doc management, but we are looking at people like FYI docs to be able to manage documents, etc. However, MyWorkpapers does come with unlimited document storage as well. And what most people do is they will put documents relevant into whichever field that is necessary, but also documents that are not financial necessarily. They can put into the permanent documents and roll those forward over and over year and year, and they will all be individually referenced as well, so you can really easily access them. And I'll touch on that a bit later. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got a skeleton file. It's got 18 work papers you can see on the left-hand side. And here is the working paper index. Of course, you can drag and drop those to whichever location you want. I will keep the A folder at the top. And of course, you can change the name of those subfolders as well. All right, on the right-hand side, you've got a whole heap of buttons here. So one of them is a status not set. So I can set the status of this file as well. This really helps an internal team understand exactly what the state the file is in. Now, as soon as I've clicked in progress, it put my name and date stamp on the saying that Marviv has set this to be in progress on the 25th of January. Now, I've not brought any financials into here yet. It does say in here, certain work papers will not be activated until a trial balance is imported. So let's just go and do that. All the connections that we have, you can see them on the screen. For some of you will recognize that MYOB is not listed on here. So what you can do with MYOB files is upload a custom CSV of the trial balance and continue to work. And I will give you an example of that a little bit later in the session today. But for now, let's just jump into the 01. So I'll select the actual organizer I'm looking to work on, and I'm going to pull through both current and prior year and import that trial balance. Some of you people will maybe doing this currently manually. This, of course, you don't need to. You just connect to 0 and pull it through, and it's done instantly for you. You can see all the financials have come into the right places here, and it does give me a warning that there are 2 unmapped accounts in this trial balance, and they're really easy to see because you can see them in pink. For me, it's really easy to allocate this to the right account, so I'll just go and drop down, put it into current assets, and as I do that, the warning disappears. And because I have now pulled some financials through, you can see now that the work paper volume has gone up to 25. There's one more thing I'm going to do before I actually get down to do some work on this. So I'm going to customize this. Now, this is not to be confused with customizing the template so that I can put in my own questions or my change the MyWorkpapers GST rec with your own or anything like that. This is more to do with customizing it, setting this file up based on your client's business. So I might say to new engagement, GST, yes, small business entity, yes, prepayments. And is this business a company, trust, partnership, or a sole trader? I'll choose a company for now. Then I have a few more options that I can tick based on whatever type of a business it is and whatever the structures are that I need. Now, you won't be ticking every single one of these. You will base it on that client, but I will just, for the purpose of the demo, I'll tick everything. And it will just take me a few seconds. Now, whatever choice I make today in here, all those greens that I've done, I can roll those forward for the next financial year, so I won't have to go and tick those again later on, unless I need to make some changes, of course. And because now I've customized it to open up everything, you can see there's 57 work papers. If I open up these individual folders, like so, you can see the content. If I click the chevrons, it can open up all the folders in one hit. Anything that's got a golden chain on it are the ones that I've unhidden through that customizer. I will now go and do some work. I will go into the planning program. The things you can see on this page, you've got the sign-off steps. This can be completely changed as well. You might increase the number of different steps that you have, or you can reduce it, and you can save that as a permanent fixture within your platform. Then underneath that, you've got the actual procedures, the checklist, the questions that are here. And these are the things that can absolutely be changed as well. So whatever changes that you make, you can save that as a customized template and then continue to work on that for every file that you have. And you might, some of our clients will have multiple different templates that they use for different types. So you might have a medical specialist one, a farming specialist one, etc., and then tune that based on those kind of criteria. Information that you see in here, of course, you've got the questions, but you've also got the references from the ATO that are relevant to that question. Now, we keep these up to date, as I said earlier, but there is an exception to that rule. If you make any changes to any of the content here, so for example, if I made any changes to this planning program and only this planning program, I might have changed the questions, or I might have deleted or even added further questions. If I do that, then the content is seen as your own private content, so you will be responsible for the content changes or legislative changes based around that content. If you did do that, everything else will still remain MyWorkpapers' responsibility to update based on any changes of legislation. So it's only the content that you change is your responsibility. The rest of it is still down to us to make sure we're across it all. Now, then you've got the responses to those questions, and of course, you've got the comments. So I can start putting in kind of comments, and you will see here, I've also got the ability to type in external hyperlinks as well. So if I wanted to reference this to a specific area in a file of a zero file or anything like that, I can absolutely do that from here. I can also add additional references as well. So if I hover over this reference here, you can see a pencil appear. So what can I do? I might say I want to reference a budget worksheet. I can type in budget, or BT will do the same thing. I can also have multiple references in the same location. I will now start answering these questions. I will intentionally answer them with different answers, and I will intentionally leave these blank because I want to show you the power of the roles and permissions. So if I actually, for my demo purposes, I have partner level permissions, of course. So if I was a junior, I only had junior level permission, and let's say I wanted to skip a lot of the work in here. If I tick on here, firstly, it gives me a warning. This work paper has not been fully completed yet. Are you sure you want to sign off? Now, if I was a graduate and I didn't have the permission to do so, it will not even give me this option. It just will not allow me to bypass this. I will have to answer every single one of those questions. However, I do have partner level permission. As I say, I can bypass this. It does put a name and date stamp on there saying that MyWorkpapers has prepared this on the 25th of January. Now, let's say me as the junior, I've prepared this as much as I can, and I wanted to notify my manager that I'd like him or her to go and jump in and review it. So if I go back to this status update, you can see one of the icons here it's got an email icon, and the step is ready for manager review. So if I click on here and I notify the manager, in this case, I can put a message here. Please review planning. And if I notify him, this will send an email notification to my manager, Mabu, and he will get an email saying, hey, there's a link to here, and Mabu, the junior, needs you to review the planning. So I can just, now I've received the notification on my email, I can go into my planning folder. Here I will put my manager notes in, and then I might even change some of these answers, okay? But what I can also do as a manager, so is I can, let's say this is the manager, I'm going to sign this off. If I click on this date here, I have the option to bulk answer everything in one hit. So this does say this work paper contains checkbox responses. Please select an answer to be applied to all questions. Note that I have said yes and no and NA to a couple of those things. So if I say yes to everything here and click OK, all the answers change to yes, but more importantly, every single question is actually answered. However, it still does allow me the ability to go and change individual answers as I need to. So it's really quite powerful and flexible at the same time. I've signed that off. As a manager, again, you've got my name and date stamp on here, and now I've passed it through to the partner, and I can do that either through the same process I did with the status, or I can go and do a review point. I'll come into this review point later, so I'll just tick this off as a partner. Now, a partner has special privileges. So when a partner ticks something off in here, you can see it's a separate box for a partner. Everything in the content underneath has gone gray. So nobody can change anything. I can't change an answer. I can't add any more references. That pencil doesn't appear. I can't edit any of my notes. Even my own notes, if I had put them in, I can't edit them. Only way I can is if I go and untick that box. In essence, what it's doing is taking them back a step to here, and in which case I can go in and change any kind of answers that I have, and then I can tick this off again. Once it has been ticked off as complete, any work paper has been ticked off as complete. If I go back to my working paper index, you can see on the left-hand side, there's progress. One work paper has been complete. And then you can also see that the planning folder is now 25% complete. And if I open that up, I can see what it's made up of. Right, it's a planning program. Oh yes, I can see that the junior prepared this, and the manager reviewed this over here, and then eventually it was finalized by a partner. Okay, let's say I wanted to do some work on the budget worksheet. I can access it from here, or I can go into the planning folder. I know I referenced it here. There's also a reference to it over here as well. Whichever one I click, it will take me to the exact same location. I mentioned near the beginning that we are integrated into Office 365. So this will be linked to your own account of Office 365. If you're not on Office 365, I would recommend it. It does make it much, much easier, particularly if you've got remote workers. You'll know exactly where the file is and what kind of level of work has been done throughout. Really useful. But if you don't have Office 365, you can download the document, you can check it out as well. And then once you've done the work on your desktop, you can upload it again. But I'll demo the Office Online part. Here we go. We've gone into my budget worksheet here. So I need to put some kind of information in. Forgive my misspelling. And let's say this is to do with rent. Once I'm happy with the work I've done, I can go and close out that budget worksheet. What this will do is automatically refresh the page for me and update with whatever information I have just changed. Underneath the worksheet, you've also got an audit trail of exactly who did what and at what stage and what date. Now, let's say that was a junior preparing something that I want to go in and change things as a manager. So I'll go in here. I'll make some changes. So once I'm happy with the changes that I've made, if I cross out of that worksheet, again, it will refresh automatically and update the changes on this worksheet here. And of course, that is now notified on the audit trail as well. Version control is a big problem for a lot of accountants that we speak with. There will be, and undoubtedly there'll be someone who are watching today that will have that issue. So this eliminates the version control. So because of all the different audit trails that you've got in here, you have the ability to revert back to an older version. So only if you have the right permission to do so. So because again, I've got partner level permission, usually managers and upwards of senior accountants and upwards have that kind of permission. So if I wanted to revert back to that older version here, all I have to do, and I've got, if I've got right permissions, restore this version, and it will refresh the page and take it back to that pre-change of that rent in here. I can then, I will intentionally leave these bits unpreviewed, but I will sign it off as a partner. It does say on here, this work paper has been marked as complete, therefore the document cannot be edited. And if I jump back into my working paper index, of course, we've got an update. There's 2 work papers complete. The planning folder is now 50% complete. If I want to dig deeper and see what that is made up of, I can see that the budget worksheet has now been done. It was prepared by Marby the junior, or maybe the manager was on annual leave on that day, so that didn't happen. However, the partner did jump in and finalize that. Further than that, you've also got the history of all those edits that are made within that worksheet as well that are visible in here. Now, I mentioned the 3 reasons: efficiency, standardized process, visibility. So I'll show you another example of the efficiency. So if we go into the liabilities area, based on your permissions, if you have permissions to be able to jump in and sign things off, you will be able to like this. Whether you're a junior, you might say that only the managers are able to sign things off like this, but you can do that from here. Also, if you've got a team and let's say you're a partner in the firm and you've got a team and you trust the work that they've done, and they usually do a really good, thorough job. And so once you can see that Marby the junior has prepared this and Marby the manager has reviewed this, you might say that the liabilities section entirely is good. You're happy with that. So what you can do to save yourself a colossal amount of time is tick this box. There is a warning, of course. There are you sure you wish to complete all the work papers in this folder? Okay, yes, I am. And there you go. In one hit, everything is now finalized. And if I refresh my page, the stats on the left-hand side also appear updated. And you can see that the liabilities folder is now 100% complete. That's just saved myself a huge headache and a lot of time in the review of this file. An example of partially the standardized process is, and it comes to the customizing as well, a snippet of an example of how you can customize things. Let's say you've got a range of customers that don't have any equities. They're really small businesses that don't have equities. So you need, rather than having this folder there all the time, and you think a bit of a pain, I want to get rid of this. I want to have a customized template that does not have any equities. And equities maybe not be the best example, but this is just a way of demonstrating it. So what you can do is hover over here. As long as there's no work being done in that equities folder, which there isn't in this one, you can go and delete that. And only if you have permissions can you delete this. Gone. So the equities will not appear on this file, but I can save this as a customized template along with any kind of changes in my the different work papers that I'm using, the checklist that I've got. I will save that as a template, maybe for the medical industry or something like that, and you can go and continue to use that template ongoing for those types of clients. Okay, another area that we have a standardized process where we can give you a really good example of a standardized process is this workflow diagram. This is designed to give you an A to Z of your workflow within this type of file that you work on. Really helpful when you've got less experienced staff, junior staff members. We built this into the system because in a few years ago, we were having a lot of conversations with people who were saying that John the Junior still goes to Sarah the Senior very regularly, and there's a start-stop process. So we implemented this into here. So what that does is John the Junior can simply follow the steps along here. When they've done all the planning, for example, you can see all the ticks against the work that's been done. They can go to step 2 and then step 3 and so on. This is fully customized. This is fully customizable based on your own procedures within your firm. It does dramatically reduce the number of times the interference and the in the workflow can happen. So John the Junior can simply follow the steps here and not interrupt Sarah the Senior. So it saves time on John the Junior's side, as well as saving a lot of time and start and stop process for Sarah the Senior as well. Again, fully customizable based on your own procedures within your firm, and we'll do that during the implementation. Let's jump back into the trial balance. Whole heap of things you can see on the trial balance. Of course, you've got all the financials in here, but also your ability to reference. So you can have references for any of the work papers that you've got listed on the left-hand side. So I'll reference to the completion program. You've also got tick marks as well. Some of you may not be familiar with tick marks. Tick marks are a very quick way to represent a certain action or useful information based on the account that you're actually working on. So for example, it's not material, not applicable. You can even have it as with your own colleagues' initials in there as well. Fully customizable list. It is used more so by auditors, but we are seeing more and more accountants starting to use this flow because they want to have a glance view of what's going on and who's done what within that file. Of course, against each account, you can also put in any kind of notes that you need as well. Now, you can have those internal references, but you can also attach source documents to each of the accounts as well. Now, I've got a folder with a whole heap of sample documents in here. It's really easy to attach source documents in my work papers. So if you've got Outlook or if you've got a folder with documents in it, it's a simple matter of clicking it, dragging and dropping. It will automatically reference it to the next available reference, and I'll upload. That's it. That bank statement is now here as F9. Now you can also link documents to multiple accounts as well. So if I bring that folder up again, let's get a different, let's get this one here, financial statement. If I drag and drop this into here, it'll automatically reference it to the next available one. And here we go. That reference is now there. Now, the cool thing about the reference, the source documents is I might jump in and let's go into this one here. Let's go into this bank statement. I'll do some work on this. My work papers comes with a built-in PDF markup tool. So it'll go full screen. It's got a search function in it, of course. And if I'm looking for the word merchant, just search for that, and all the words of all the versions of the word merchant appearing on the main body of the PDF, of course, but also on the right-hand side as a shortcut. So if I click one of the ones in the middle here, it will highlight it in a slightly different color on the left. But it's also got a markup capability. So if I go to my edit document section, you can see a little menu appears on the top of the page. It says view, annotate, shapes, and insert. So if I go to annotate, it allows me to highlight in whichever color I like. I can underline, I can do boxes, etc. I can do lots of different editing within this PDF. If I go to the shapes, it does a similar kind of thing. You've got all different types of shapes, etc. And also you've got built-in rubber stamps. So I might go and say approved here, change the size of that. There's a whole heap, there's a long list of samples of rubber stamps, but you can also customize your own rubber stamps as well if you wish. Also, you've got a signature ability as well. So I can put my own signature in here and I'll create that. Here we go. And I can drag that, make it smaller and put it in here. This is all very useful. I find something that's really more powerful than even being able to highlight and things like that is this panel on the top left-hand corner. This is a shortcut to all the work papers in this folder already. So what I can do is if I wanted to link this bank statement to an area of work that I'm doing here in this file, I can click on that completion program, for example, and that A1 completion program is now linked into this bank statement. So if I come out of here now, underneath the page, it's got the audit trail of what I've done, so the edits and the creation of that document, etc. But also, you can see all my highlights and my signature. And if I click that A1 link now here, it will take me straight through to the completion program where I can go and continue to do my work. And here, of course, I may want to reference that F9 that I've just done some editing in. And I can use that F9 in any location. I've put it into the into the trial balance. I've also put it into this A1 completion program. Wherever that F9 reference is, it'll take me there. And one of the beauties is you may be working with clients that have multiple entities. Let's say, for example, they have a rental agreement that it goes across 3 or 4 different entities. That F9, even with its edits that we've got in here, highlighted, etc., can be cross-referenced in multiple files linked to that group of businesses. Okay, that's really quite powerful. Rather than having to jump in and edit each of the PDF and then saving it within each of the files individually, you can use the one reference across multiple entities. Okay, I will complete this now. I will jump into the trial balance again. So there's a lot of people will work from the trial balance. Some of our clients actually work from the lead schedule. So if I wanted to look at the assets of F4-1, here it is. You will see all the information that I've got in the trial balance itself, so the references, that my notes are in here, also my tick marks. The added power with the lead schedules is that you've got that sign-off step as well. So if I go and complete this as a partner, it will not allow me now to add any more references or tick marks or even add notes. So I've locked that page down. Of course, that will reflect in my working paper index with an additional work paper now complete. You can see progress within the assets folder. I touched briefly on unlimited storage facilities within my work papers. So some of our clients, what they will do is they want to have access to information that's really useful for them, but not necessarily financial. Okay, so like terms and conditions, rental agreements, employment records, and what have you, whatever it is that's important to them, what they can do is, I'm just going to take a sample of a number of things and just drag them into the permanent documents area and confirm that upload. Now you can see that each of the documents has been labeled individually, and I can roll these forward each financial year. So I will always have access to them, and it will always be linked to this specific file as well. But also when I roll forward each year, it will be there as well. Really powerful. It is truly unlimited. I did have a few months ago a client test out on this, and they uploaded 800 documents, which I giggled about, but that it truly is unlimited. I think the size of the file, there may be a limit of something like 25 megs per document, but it's truly unlimited number of files you can have. Now, there are 3 types of communication. One of them we've touched on, where you've got your internal communication highlighting the status of that file, but you've also got review points and you've got client queries as well. We'll quickly touch on review points first. So I might have an internal review point for a manager, and I'll leave this with a completion program, and I'll say docs, please. I can then assign that review point to any of my colleagues that have access to this file. I'll go and create that. Now that review point will appear on here. Also, if I'm jumping in first thing in the morning and this review point was created in the previous evening, you've got a list of all of your review points in here as well. You can see the stats have changed, etc. You can also view all the review points regardless of the file under the review points in the home page as well. I'll go into this one here because that's the one I'm working on. I'm going to the review points. Well, I can see that my manager's asked me for a document, so what I can do is just go and open up my folder and drag and drop whatever document I needed to into here. Once it's been sent here, I can go and send it to whichever folder I need. Now, I'm going to put it to the reports and completion one because it's just easy to see here. Send, and he will appear on the left-hand side here, PHP chess holding statement. Cool. Now I can resolve this. Actually, before I resolve, if I go back to my working paper index, you can see the review point currently has a clock against it. But if I go back to it now and resolve it, that's resolved. It has a tick against it. So you might have a long list of review points against this file, but the ones with the ticks on them are the ones that you've completed. So the ones with the clocks are the ones that you still need to action. Okay, so that's really useful. Now, the third type of communication is a client queries. This is a portal-based communication, which is becoming very, very popular in this day and age. Now, rather than using emails, the issues that we see with emails is that people tend to just reply to emails, and that email trail can last months. The worst I've seen is about 6 to 8 months or something like that. And in that space, there's been 20, 30 emails. So when I do a search on Outlook for a certain phrase or something like that, I'm getting 20 emails, and I have to go through every single one of those emails just to see just to seek and find that piece of information. Now, the client queries portal eliminates that. So this is the way you work. This is, I might just put a message in for Sarah here. Please forward me whatever it is that I need Sarah to forward. And I've just added one query, but before I send it, I want to add a list of things I want to send to Sarah. So I'll do another one, and this time it might be a question. Okay, the same process, the same method can be used to send information through to Sarah, as well as receive answers and documents and what have you from Sarah as well. Now, this is a portal-based system. So what will happen is if I notify the client, I can also, whilst I'm notifying the client, I can also notify my colleagues as well. Okay, so when I send this notification, what will happen is Sarah will receive an email from my workpapers with a link to the portal. She will, of course, be given her a login details. And once she logs in, she'll be seeing this question from me and this request for a document. Or if I've sent something to her, she'll be able to review the documents that I have sent to her. But alongside Sarah, also the people that will receive the notification that I've requested information are my colleagues as well. Now, Sarah's not a real person here, so if I send anything, it's not going to go in there, so I won't be able to show you that. But once Sarah does jump in, Sarah can start replying here. And there's an audit trail of that reply. And she can, even though she's not a part of my accounting firm, Sarah can still drag and drop documents into here as well. And once it comes into here, what I can do is go and allocate this to the right folder for me. Equally, if Sarah's answering questions in here, she can type in the answer and reply, and there will be an audit trail of that as well. So once Sarah has done the work that she's been requested by me, myself and my colleagues will get an email notification saying that Sarah has done that. So everyone's kept aware of exactly what's happening with the Q&A that you've got going with the client at any given time. Okay, so there's been a couple of questions actually. I will tackle this right now with regards to document management. So we are talking with FYI docs right this moment in terms of what the best way is to link. We have got agreement that we will work together and we will be integrated, but we're just trying to work out at the moment what is useful and what is important for our customers and how do we go and connect with those. So at the moment, that connection does not exist, but it is something that's fairly high priority for us. Unfortunately, I can't give you any kind of timelines on this. With being development-based work, it can lengthen, sometimes it can shorten, depends on the speed of both sides of the fence. But a great question, thank you. Okay, so we've talked about the communication. Now, let's, one of the last areas in the working side of things, I want to show you this. So the journal entries. I did mention earlier, you can upload a CSV of the journal entries and put it into MyOb and QuickBooks, etc. But with Xero, it's a little bit more powerful. So let's say I want to do some journal entries. Let's say it's to do with rent, add, it's an adjustment, I'm just going to put in some random figures here for the moment. Because I haven't credited the debit, of course, it's gone pink. I will put in income and oops. I'll just map this up to make my life a little bit easier right now. And as soon as I balance that, it's gone grey again. And of course, I can put some comments into here as well. The idea is I can add journals as I wish. Once I've done that, I can choose the individual journals, or I can select the whole lot. If it's not a zero file, so if it's a QuickBooks, MYOB, or an industry-specific one, you can export those the adjustment journals as a CSV and upload them to the account, right, to the Essentials, to the QuickBooks file. If it's a zero file, however, which most of you will have clients using zero, you can export it straight into the zero file from here. This saves a colossal amount of time. So just check all the information. I'm happy with all that and continue to export. Now, I don't have access to the actual demo zero file within zero, but I will very quickly jump into, you can see that it says export as draft to zero successfully. I can just jump into trial balance and I can show that these figures are in here and in here. Okay. Now, as I'm nearing the end of my work, I have a number of things I could do. I can go and complete and archive this. I can export the whole file as a zip folder and store it locally. More and more clients are just completing and archiving this rather than storing and clogging up their servers. They're just keeping things within MyWorkpapers, and you will stay here indefinitely. You can also print out the financial reports as well. So once you've done that, you can do that. Now, let's say I've finished the work on this file and I want to get it prepared for the next financial year. I'll go to my home page. Before I do that, I want to quickly touch on this as well. So this Kate Blanchett file that I've worked on, I did mention that we do periodic work papers. So if you jump into, just tick on that, on the client file name there, and under the periodic work paper files, you can see you've got monthly or quarterly. You can simply create a quarterly file and do your BAS reporting from here. So it does monthly as well as quarterly. And all of this will be linked to that year-end file. But what I wanted to actually show you with this, I won't go through that process. So if you do jump into a trial, you can go through this and experience it for yourself. But what I will do, so I'll go back in here, and I will roll forward. So roll forward is really, really important because it saves you a lot of time. So if I'm going through this Kate Blanchett file now, that's the period that I worked on. Next, I can choose what I wish to roll forward. So you can choose individually by breaking these things down, or you can choose specific documents or specific work papers, or you can select everything. I'm choosing to select everything, and I'll also roll forward my review points, my workflow, and the customizer. Those are the green boxes that I had opened up, and roll that forward. This will just take a few seconds. This roll forward is a massive time, so especially if you're doing things manually at the moment on paper, etc. This will save you potentially hours and hours of time. So that roll forward is now done. The file is now ready for the next financial year. And if I go into my trial balance, I can see that the financials have gone into the prior period. It still retained the referencing that I had because I chose to do so. If I go back to my working paper index, you can see the review point. I might have put in a review point for considerations for next financial year. So that's still available. And you've got my permanent documents as well. So these are my terms and conditions, my employment history, and all those kind of things that I want to say that are not financial, but are really important for me to be aware of and have easy access to. So that's that bit there. Now, we're nearing the end of our demo, but there's something really important that I want to show. This is a relatively new development. This was developed back in around September time last year when we were at, just before we were at XeroCon. So this is called Excel Connect. Now, this file itself, right now, I don't have a trial balance imported into here. It's a blank trial. I'll close the other files up. Now, what I want to do is if I go back to my working paper index, I'll go to my assets area and the assets program. Currently, in the assets program, there's an area here, the GST assets. It does say in here, ensure that the fixed asset register is up to date and reconciles with the trial balance. Okay, so at the moment, because I do not have a trial balance in here, it says the status is pending a trial balance. So let's go and put a trial balance in. And I said at the beginning that I would do a manual entry. So this is the kind of thing that you would do if you had a zero, sorry, not a zero, if you had a MYOB client file. So I've saved the CSV of the trial balance. I can go into here and upload this one here. It does take a couple more clicks than you would do with a zero, because zero just pulls through. Import that in. I'm happy with everything else in here. Done. So if you jump into the trial balance, we can see all the financials in here. It has mapped it already for me as well, because it's a file that I had previously. So it just recognizes a mapping. Now, if I go to my my fixed asset summary, currently it's not yet linked to that trial balance. And you can see all the information in here is currently blank. Okay, it doesn't have the client name in here. It doesn't have any of the financials in here. But if I now apply data fields, what this will do is link this document to the database of my client information within my Workpapers, as well as link it to the trial balance, and it'll pull through all the financials. So you can see it does not reconcile. There is a variance of 12,000. All the financials are in here. So I clearly need to do some work on this. So what I'll do is jump into my Office 365. I will now put in a 12,000 vehicle that I bought. Here we go, that figure is there. If I go back to the top, you can see that it does now reconcile. The variance has gone down to 0. If I now come out of that spreadsheet, it refreshes the page. Of course, underneath that, it's got all the audit trail in here. Yes, it is reconciled. Now, if I go back to my assets program now, here it is. Now that I've done that adjustment in here and I've linked to the trial balance, you can see this, the status is now reconciled, so I can go and tick yes in here. So currently we're structuring this Excel Connect. It's a much better integration of Excel than it ever has been on my Workpapers before. We're doing this during the implementation phase. So if you do jump on board, we will link up the cross-contamination ability for you based on your platform and your templates. So this is a new area for us, and it's making a massive difference. It reduces the number of manual entries that you'll do. It increases the accuracy because the information is coming straight from the trial balance. So there's a lot less human error as well, and that all of that leads to much better time saving. Now, the final thing I want to show you today is a management tool here as well. So if I go into the workflow manager, this is an area that gives you a real good clarity of your workload and progress of your file, of all the files that you've got access to. So it's based on you as an individual person who has access to the files. So list all the files that you have in here. You can see you can change your order. So for example, I can change your order based on the completion statistics. So least complete to most. So if I scroll down, you can see there are more completed ones. I can flick it on its head, of course, ordering based on the most complete through to least. Equally, I can add a deadline for work to be completed on here as well. All these buttons along the top, these are your filters. So I might say I want to look at all of my year-end files, and I can search here, and it will list that filtered based on my year-end files that I'm working on. But if I want to further filter this and say all the files that are year-end and also being worked on by my colleague Alex, I can tick his name and filter that even more. And I can have multiple saved filters for ease of access and ease of being able to just report on whatever it is that I want to report on. Now, we have had a number of questions come throughout the session this morning. So thank you very much for that. I have kept an eye on it. I've hopefully been able to answer them as we've gone through. There was a question about pricing in here. I haven't answered that yet. So our pricing is based on the number of files that you have with My Workpapers rather than the number of users. And they start off at $2.49 per file per month. So that's we do not charge GST because we are registered in the UK. Although I am based very much in Queensland, we are registered in the UK, so we therefore don't charge GST. There are natural discounts in place for higher volumes of 100+ files, but we'll talk about that on an individual basis when I speak with you, hopefully over the coming days. And there are similar kind of pricing for your audit files, our accounting files, year-end for all your individual tax returns. So, there's variation of levels of price, depends on the complexity of those files. That's the demo. I did say that I would try to finish between 40 to 50 minutes, and I'll bang on here. Hopefully I've been able to give back 10 minutes of your time. And I did say that also I will put my contact details up on the screen as well. So let me just do that now. Please do contact us. I will attempt to contact you over the coming days. We'll probably go into next week as it is a public holiday tomorrow. But also the quickest way to get hold of me is either through an email or using my calendar link to book a time to have a quick chat with me to start the evaluation off. We do offer free trials to people. So if you want to get your hands dirty, now that you've seen the demo, you can jump into a trial, just contact us and we will organize that for you straight away and get you testing the tool out. Again, thank you everyone for sticking around. Hardly anyone's left, which is really great. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you have, if you're having a Friday off as well, hope you have a really good extended weekend. Thank you, and look forward to speaking with you in the coming days. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.